The 3-second mistake that killed 17 million people began when a driver took a wrong turn in Sarajevo. Leopold Lojka was simply following the lead car before he realized the motorcade had missed the intended turn. He pressed the brake pedal to reverse the heavy Graf and Stift car back onto the main road. This brief pause placed the Archduke directly in front of a 19-year-old assassin named Gavrilo Princip. Why did the most powerful military leaders fail to anticipate such a simple mechanical failure on that day? The answer starts not with generals or emperors, but with a side street barely wide enough for two horses to pass each other. Lojka had no idea the route had already changed after an earlier bomb had failed to kill Franz Ferdinand that same morning. The motorcade was supposed to speed away from danger, not drift slowly back into the one spot where danger was still waiting. Princip had given up and stepped into a nearby deli when the royal car reversed directly to his feet. In the entire city of Sarajevo, on that entire morning, there was one place the Archduke should never have stopped.
But to understand
and that
how
is
something
exactly
this
where
small could
Leopold
cause something
Lojka
this
stopped.
big, you have to go back a few hours earlier, back to a plan that was already falling apart before it even started.
Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, arrives in Sarajevo with his wife Sophie on the morning of June 28, 1914. Bosnia had recently been absorbed into the empire, and a group of Bosnian Serb nationalists calling themselves the Black Hand had decided this visit was their moment. 6 young assassins, 1 route, 1 car. The first one freezes, lets the car pass. The second, a 19-year-old named Nedeljko Kabrinović, throws a bomb. It bounces off the folded-back roof of the car. It rolls underneath the vehicle behind it. It explodes, wounding a dozen people. Franz Ferdinand isn't touched. Kabrinović swallows a cyanide pill and jumps into a river to escape. The pill is expired. The river is only inches deep. He's dragged out by the crowd, alive, and furious that it didn't work. The plot has failed, or so everyone thinks. The other assassins scatter, certain the mission is over. One of them, a quiet 19-year-old named Gavrilo Princip, gives up entirely. He walks away from the parade route. He ends up outside a delicatessen called Schiller's, just off a street called Franz Josef Street, to get something to eat. He has no idea what's about to happen. Neither does anyone else. Because Franz Ferdinand does something almost nobody expects. After surviving an assassination attempt, he doesn't leave the city. He insists on visiting the hospital to check on the people wounded by the bomb meant for him. And that decision changes the route. The motorcade is redirected, away from the original parade path, straight toward the hospital instead. Someone passes that new instruction to the officials in the lead car. Nobody passes it to the driver of Franz Ferdinand's car. A man named Leopold Lojka. He was never told the plan changed. The motorcade sets off, and when it reaches the turn onto Franz Josef Street, the old route, the wrong one, Lojka turns the wheel exactly the way he was trained to. General Oskar Potiorik, riding in the car, immediately shouts at him, "Wrong way! We're going straight to the hospital, not turning here." Lojka realizes his mistake. He begins to stop the car, to reverse it back onto the correct road, and the car comes to rest directly outside Schiller's delicatessen, the exact spot where Gavrilo Princip is standing, the assassin who had already given up. He looks up. The car that was supposed to be gone, the target he thought he'd lost, is sitting a few feet in front of him. He steps forward, draws a pistol, fires twice. The first shot hits Sophie in the abdomen. The second hits Franz Ferdinand in the neck. Both are dead within the hour. Because here's what almost nobody realizes. This isn't where the story ends. It's where it starts. 2 shots, 2 bodies. And somewhere in Vienna, a decision is already being made that will turn a personal tragedy into a global catastrophe. Austria-Hungary blames Serbia's government for the killing. The evidence tying Serbian officials directly to the assassins is thin. Doesn't matter. They draft an ultimatum, with terms built to be impossible to fully accept. Serbia agrees to almost everything in it. Almost isn't enough. July 28th, 1 month to the day after the assassination. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. And now the clock starts running on something much bigger than one empire's grudge. Because, for decades, every major power in Europe had quietly signed treaties, promising to defend each other if war ever came.
Nobody thought they'd actually be used. They were supposed to be insurance policies. Instead, they turn into a trigger nobody can stop pulling. Russia is bound to defend Serbia. They mobilize. Germany is bound to back Austria-Hungary. They declare war on Russia. France is bound to Russia. Germany declares war on France too. To reach France fast, Germany invades Belgium. And Britain had signed a treaty decades earlier, promising to protect Belgian neutrality no matter what. One by one, country after country gets pulled in. Not because they wanted this war, but because of promises made years earlier, to countries that had nothing to do with a wrong turn on a street in Sarajevo. 37 days. That's the entire countdown. 37 days between 2 gunshots outside a delicatessen and a war that swallows an entire continent. And it only happens because a driver took a turn he was already trained not to take.
If the car doesn't stall in exactly the wrong spot, in front of exactly the one assassin who hadn't given up his weapon yet. Historians still debate whether some version of this war was coming regardless, given everything else simmering in Europe at the time. If this is the kind of history you want more of, hit like, hit subscribe. It helps more than you'd think. Because a wrong turn wasn't the only tiny forgettable detail that ended up rewriting the entire world. There's a telegram, a real one, that was supposed to stay secret forever. Instead, it got intercepted, decoded, and used to drag an entire nation into a war it swore it would never join. That's the story of the Zimmerman telegram, and it's next.